3, 2, 1.
The game plays right here.
Are you ready for some football?
The Scott Skyhawks, exclusively on Classic Country 92.5, WZAC FM, Danville, Madison.
Tonight's game has been some time in coming. The last time these two teams met on the gridiron was back in 2011 when the Skyhawks knocked off Sherman 66-0. From the existence of high school football, the Scott Skyhawks and the Sherman Tide were bitter county rivalries, and many stories could be told about that rivalry over the years. Because of the declining enrollment, Sherman was reclassified to a single-A school, which ended the rivalry that ended in many epic battles on the field. After a 9-year absence, these once bitter rivals meet once again. The Sherman Tide coming in at 2-1 with a win over Richwood, while Coach Shane Griffith picked up victory number 100 as the Skyhawk coach with a win over Madonna. The battle should pick up right where we left off in 2011. All the action is next here on the Skyhawk Sports Network.
Welcome to Scott Skyhawk Football. The tradition of Skyhawk football runs deep throughout the local community as they've made 9 playoff appearances in the past 17 years. Under the direction of head coach Shane Griffith, the Skyhawks are looking for another exciting season. Tonight's pregame show is presented by
Schaefer & Schaefer, attorneys at law, serving West Virginia for over 100 years.
Stevens Auto Center, gigantic selection with ground floor pricing.
Liz Underwood, your local Allstate agent. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Barker's Hardware, lumber, and more at Barker's Hardware.
Boone Memorial Hospital. We are bringing medicine home.
Thornhill Auto Group. Nobody beats a Thornhill deal, and we mean nobody.
Clayton Homes, opening doors to a better life, one home at a time.
Dr. Ron Stallings, serving the residents of Southern West Virginia since 1985.
The Hanley family, serving the region for over 50 years.
Premier Bank, our goal is premier service.
Farrell & Hill Insurance Agency, celebrating 70 years of service to our local community.
BMH Physical Therapy and Sports Medicine Center, the results you want with the care you deserve. And by
your locally owned and operated McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
For the Stevens Auto pregame, let's go to the stadium. Here's Joe Linville and Chris Barrett.
And a very pleasant good evening to you from Zontini Field on the campus of Sherman High School along the banks of the Big Coal River. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, overlooking this natural turf field here at Sherman High. Chris Barrett alongside. And, Chris, are you as excited about a Monday night football game as I am?
Oh, yeah, especially between these two teams. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of talk throughout the upcoming season that, you know, this game means more to one team than it does the other. But when it comes to the fact of the matter that neither of these two teams want to lose to the other one, I mean, it's going to mean a lot to both teams. And yeah, you never want to lose a game, but when it's against a county rival and a team on the Scott side that is actually down in the series to the Sherman Tide, I mean, it should mean a lot more. You want to try to catch them since you've not played them in almost 9 years.
We'll talk more about tonight's game in a minute, but let's recap. 2 weeks ago, Skyhawks was not able to play last week because of the governor's multicolored map.
The coloring book.
You know, there's a lot of memes and so forth going out there we can joke about. I never dreamed we would get this game in. When you looked at the map on Friday, we were orange. I talked to Brett Kuhn, the county commission. He gave me some numbers that came in Thursday evening, and I thought there is no way we're going to be able to play football. But at 5 o'clock, I refreshed it, it came back up again, and I went, wow, we're going to be playing football Monday night. So, but quickly, let's jump back 2 weeks in that game against Madonna, which was a pickup game because we couldn't play that week. I don't even remember who we were supposed to play at this point. Sissonville, that's right. Kanawha County was in the orange. They were not allowed to play. Coach Griffith got on the horn. Madonna was supposed to go to Tug Valley. Mingo County was in the orange, so they couldn't play either. So instead of going all the way to Naugatuck, they made a little stop in Madison and had a football game. Final score in that one, Scott knocked off top-rated single-A Madonna 38-20. An outstanding game for Clay Matthews. He carried the ball 21 times for 183 yards, 2 touchdowns. Michael Clay, the fullback, had 8 carries and 104 yards and a touchdown. But the big thing, the big turning point in that game was Scott's defense shutting down the passing attack of that quarterback, Arlia, for Madonna.
Yeah, and you're starting to see Scott go back to their bread and butter of what we've seen of those great teams back in the mid to late 2000s when they were making those deep playoff runs. And it is that defense, that front seven up front for Scott. I would put them up against a lot of teams in the state. They're just so physical. They put a 3-man front down, hand in the ground, and they push that offensive line from the opposition. And in those linebacking core, they're able to get through the gaps that the defensive line's able to open up for them. Led by Ryan Elkins, he's able to shove people and move people. That boy is a man up front, and those linebackers are able to get free and get to the quarterback. And that's why I think Madonna come in and was had a little tough go, because they were able to pressure Arlie, and he wasn't able to sit back there, get through 2 or 3 different reads, and he was making rush throws.
And by the time the game was over at the end of in that mid to late fourth quarter, I think he was ready for the game to be over, because they got to him several times, and Saxon final scoring that one 38-20. Of course, the Skyhawks opened the season with that disappointing loss on the road at Wayne at 12-6, which, Scott led in all categories except on the scoreboard where it counted. But anyway, sometimes that's the way the apple falls. Scott uprighted and got Coach Griffith his 100th win as a Sky coach in that game 2 weeks ago. We're going to step aside, take a break. We'll take a 2-minute break, and we'll be back and talk about tonight's game between the Scott Skyhawks and the Sherman Tide. You're listening to Black and Gold Football on the Skyhawk Sports Network.
For over a century,
Boone Memorial Hospital is pleased to announce our specialty services are now accepting new patients for dermatology, cardiology, ENT, and psychiatry. Call today or visit us online. Boone Memorial Hospital, bringing medicine home.
Here? Nah. Here? Nope. Here.
When the middle of nowhere is somewhere. The all-new Chevy Trailblazer.
Hello, this is Josh Holstein, Republican candidate for House of Delegates. I wanted to wish good luck to both the teams of Sherman High School and Scott High School as you face each other this evening. And I also wanted to say we need a new generation of leadership. We need somebody with conservative Christian values that's willing to fight for our area and fight for our rights and values. I'm pro-life, pro-Second Amendment, and pro-Trump, and I'm the only candidate in the race who can say that honestly. It's time for a new generation of leadership. God bless you guys.
Paid for by the committee to elect Josh Holstein.
Every year, the big banks raise their fees while reducing the services they provide. How do they get away with that? If you were to join Pioneer Community Bank, your money would stay right here, supporting a local business, which results in lower fees and better customer service for you. Sounds like a plan. So you're not really stuck with the big banks and their policies. Keep your money where it belongs, right here with Pioneer Community Bank. Pioneer Community Bank with locations in Beckley, Yeager, Sophia, Moore, and Welch. Member FDIC.
Coach Bob Huggins here at your local Little General store. As I travel this great state, it's nice to know that almost anywhere I go, there's a local Little General nearby. So the next time you're on the road, look for the Little General sign and tell them Hugs.
Come back to the Stevens Auto pregame show. Joe Linville, Chris Barrett overlooking the field here at Zontini Field at Sherman High School. And tonight, let's talk a little bit about our matchup between the 1-1 Scott Skyhawks and the 1-1 Sherman Tide. You know, this goes back probably to the beginning of high school football in the state of West Virginia. I tell you what, even through when I went to school here, when I was a kid, I could remember some of the battles on the field. Scott could be 0-5 and Sherman would be 5-0, and these two teams would meet on the field, and I mean, it would go down to the final seconds before a winner was determined. I mean, this series went that way for years. And, of course, Sherman had the upper hand in the early 2000s, and then just since 2000, this game's 8-4 in favor of the Skyhawks. Last game, 2011, Skyhawks knocked off Sherman 66-0. But let's go back just a little bit farther. Sherman's last win was in 2009 with a 33-32 win. And when I told Coach Griffith that when we were doing our interview this afternoon, he looked at me and he went, "Yep, I went for 2 points and failed." So that was the game. I'll tell you what, in 2009 was probably the best high school football game I have ever seen or ever called in my life, in my career, right here at Zontini Field, Sherman and Chapmanville. I mean, it was an air raid attack back and forth. One team would go down and score and then turn right around just a few plays later. The other team scored. Sherman came out on top. They were ranked number 3 in Class AA that season. Then number 6 Bluefield had come in and, of course, typical Bluefield. They played a lot of big schools, and they come in and upset Sherman. Actually, Sherman was in the game right down to the very end, but Bluefield knocked them off, and I think eventually went on and won a state championship that year.
Yeah, and Joe, I think one of the biggest things that kind of I think is lost in this is, I was fortunate enough to be in high school when this was still a huge rivalry when you played every year. Now, we still play them in baseball and softball and sports like that, but football in this area, that's what you want to see. And I think the heartbreaking thing for me is the fact that, none of these kids in high school now has been able to experience that Sherman week leading up to it, the pep rallies,
that was
the
always
banter.
Pep week.
Yes, I mean, the banter back and forth between the communities. And I'm telling you, it got big. I mean, it was big. No matter how many Scott fans say that, that this isn't a rivalry or whatever it is. I mean, once that week come around, it sure looked like a rivalry. And that's the biggest thing that I think leading up. There was 2 days in between finding out that this thing was going to happen. And then, with the COVID restrictions, this place isn't going to be as crowded as what it should be. And I think that's the most disheartening thing. But at the same time, this game means so much, especially now it means more with the restrictions and the way that the world looks at in our little area right now. That this game couldn't come at a better time, in my opinion. No matter how you feel about the COVID restrictions, whether you believe in it or not, this game means so much, not only to these players, but the communities right now.
Absolutely. It just, everybody's excited about it, with just so much going on. The Sherman High marching band's out on the field getting ready to play the national anthem. We're going to step aside for a 2-minute break. When we come back, we'll have the head coach of the Scott Skyhawks after this. You're listening to Black and Gold Football on the Skyhawks Sports Network.
If the pandemic has you staying at home, Premier Bank has digital no-contact options. Premier's mobile banking app gives you 24/7 banking access, including mobile check deposit and bill pay. Access your accounts anytime through your computer or smartphone with online banking. Digital Wallet offers no-contact payments with just a tap or wave of your smartphone. And if you still need to meet us in person, we're here for that too. Premier Bank. Service, solutions, strength. Member FDIC. Message and data rates may apply.
When you're buying insurance, would you rather go to someone on Wall Street or someone local on Main Street? The answer is Farrell & Hill Insurance Agency, located on Main Street in Madison. Farrell & Hill has been serving local residents for 70 years. Their agents grew up and live here, so they can relate to your insurance needs. From auto and home to life and health, Farrell & Hill is the agency you can turn to for all your insurance needs. Farrell & Hill Insurance Agency. Find us on Facebook and on the web or call 304-369-1111.
Too many choices can be overwhelming.
Do I get the sausage biscuit or sausage McMuffin?
It's called choice overload. But McDonald's makes breakfast easy. Just mix and match 2 of your select faves like any size soft drink or Southern-style sweet tea. Sausage biscuit, sausage McMuffin, or hash browns for just $2.
Okay, so I'm ordering the sausage biscuit and...
Start your morning at McDonald's. Prices and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal. Single item at regular price. Valid when product served.
Let's face it, shopping for insurance can be time-consuming. That's why when it comes to your auto and home insurance needs, make things simple and trust the experts at Allstate. They will help you get the coverage that fits your needs while helping you bundle your auto and home insurance. Bundling saves you money, but it also saves you time, so you can enjoy the things that matter most even more. Contact local Allstate agent Liz Underwood today for a free personalized insurance proposal. Allstate, are you in good hands?
Now, back to more Black and Gold football. Here is Joe Linville and Chris Barrett.
Welcome back to the Stevens Auto pregame show. Join us now is Coach Shane Griffith. And, Coach, it's been a couple of weeks, but big win over Madonna there on Skyhawk Field.
No, that was a great win. This team's still young, and opportunities like that, especially when you're playing, a new team, new faces, scenario you don't know a whole lot about, and that was a quality team that showed up. So, we were very satisfied with our performance and just seemed to be getting better each quarter. Each series, each quarter, defensively and offensively, just continued to improve.
How do you feel like your defense handled that passing attack by Madonna? They were 27 for 40, 320 yards, 2 touchdowns. They really had the air attack going on that Saturday afternoon.
We don't usually face those types of offenses, and last year, controlling the passing game was really an Achilles heel of ours. We weren't very good at that, and I thought it started. We were able to get a lot of pressure with 3 down linemen. Occasionally did some timing blitzes, but I thought the nickel package that we put in covered the field very well. We gave up a lot of underneath passes, and those yards started to accumulate. But overall, I thought we did fabulous against that offense, and they're pretty good at that. So we were more than satisfied.
Let's talk a little bit about your defensive line. They put a lot of pressure on that quarterback. By the end of the game, I think he was glad the time ran out.
We felt like back in the offseason that our defensive line was going to be a strong point for us. And when you can rush the quarterback with 3 guys and get pressure consistently, even though it might not have been sacks, he was uncomfortable. He was rushed. He was hurried. Their timing was off. And that defensive line just continues to get better.
On your offense, you had 56 plays, 430 yards. Clay Matthews had 21 carries, 183 yards, a couple touchdowns. Michael Clay had 8 carries, 104 yards. So that's the meat of your offense in that game for sure.
Absolutely. When we left Wayne, we realized that we had to get the dive more involved in the offense. Letting Michael Clay, a big, strong kid, do some of the heavy lifting and wear teams down. And we also knew we have to finish drives. There were so many points at Wayne we left on the field, and we didn't do that against Madonna. And when you're running triple option football and rolling that clock along and you're finishing those drives, the other team kind of starts to fade a little bit.
Let's switch gears a little bit and talk about tonight's game. Sherman tied. It's been 2011 since last time you guys faced each other. The Skyhawks won the game 66-0, and I know they're excited about the game. What about the Skyhawks?
Well, we're excited about any game. When you have an opportunity to play, I've always said this: coaches don't really comment a whole lot on rival games. That's for the communities. It's for the schools. But you know what? It's business. It's a football game with a chance for us to get playoff points in a crazy season where playoff points are very valuable because you don't know at the end how it's going to fall out. And we see Sherman as an opportunity just for that, to get a win, get some quality playoff points, and move forward in the season and what we're pursuing.
What do you know about Sherman? I know they've got another game under their belt than you guys do, and I know they're excited about the game tonight as well.
Sure. Coach Showalter does a great job with Sherman. He's somebody that's played in this rivalry, been a part of it, grew up at Sherman. So, he does a fabulous job with them. They're going to be ready to play. They're going to be excited. It's on their field. It's Monday Night Football. There's not a whole lot more you can say about it. And it's been over a decade since this game's happened. So, I think our young men are just excited that we're on the other side of Orange and we're playing ball tonight.
Were you surprised when the map came out on Saturday?
I was. I listened. I had several templates of who we were going to play in gold. I had 0 templates of who we were going to play in yellow. So it got real. The musical chair game got chaotic at about 5:30.
Coach, thanks a lot. Good luck in tonight's contest. And stick around. We're going to catch up with Coach at half and talk a little bit about this COVID-19 pandemic and how it's affecting the Skyhawks. You're listening to the Stevens Auto pregame show. We'll be back with more after this on the Skyhawk Sports Network.
Boone Memorial Hospital is pleased to announce our specialty services are now accepting new patients for dermatology, cardiology, ENT, and psychiatry. Call today or visit us online. Boone Memorial Hospital, bringing medicine home.
I'm your 70-pound St. Bernard puppy, and my lack of impulse control is about to become your problem.
No, come on. I saw you eating poop earlier.
My focus is on the road, and that's saving me cash with DriveWise.
Did you know when you send or receive a text message, you take your eyes off the road for 5 seconds? At 55 miles per hour, that's like driving more than the length of a football field blindfolded. As a result, thousands of people die every year in crashes related to distracted driving. That's why we're cracking down on people who text or use their smartphones while driving. We would rather you cross the goal line alive. Law enforcement officers write tickets to save lives. Don't text.
We are Thornhill Ford Lincoln, your hometown dealer located on 119 in Chapmanville. Go Thornhill and expect the best with total value, service, and pricing on your next vehicle. Home of the Thornhill 10100 limited powertrain warranty, we offer total support on every new vehicle purchase. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and online at thornhillford.net. Community strong. The road to total savings starts with Thornhill. See dealer for all details.
The Handley Funeral Home in Danville began with humble beginnings back in 1967. And has grown and expanded their services over time to the region they serve. The Handley family of businesses now includes Danville Memorial Park, Memory Gardens, BOONE Memorial Park, Danville Monument Company, and the Handley Funeral Home has expanded to 3 locations. The Handley family would like to thank you and your families for allowing them to be a part of our community for over 50 years.
Serving the area since 1985, Dr. Ron Stallings and the staff at Madison Medical continue to focus on medical wellness, prevention, and provide high-quality medical treatment to their patients. As your state senator, Dr. Stallings stands with the coal industry and works hard on legislation that will enhance economic development. As a proud West Virginia Mountaineer, Dr. Ron Stallings wishes all area teams a very successful season.
Parker's Hardware is your one-stop shop for lumber, hardware, and any other item you need around your home or business to make repairs or to spruce up for the long-term project. Parker's Hardware is your headquarters for gray seal paints, stains, water sealer, and stock a large variety of fasteners, hand tools, power tools, keys, locks, plumbing and electrical supplies, and so much more. Open Monday through Friday from 7:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. and on Saturdays until 5. Parker's Hardware in Danville. Free parking the entire length of the store.
WZAC-FM, Danville, Madison.
Welcome back to the Stevens Auto pregame show. Join us now as the head coach of the Sherman Tide, Michael Showalter. And been a long time since these two teams met on the gridiron.
Oh, absolutely. I think last time we played was 2011. So we're extremely excited. Our kids have been talking about this, really since December, since we told them that we were playing this game, and I'm sure it's probably been the same way over there. This game means a lot to a lot of people, and I'm just incredibly excited for our school and for both of our communities, and it's going to be a great night for Boone County, that's for sure.
I enjoy coming over here because it brings back a lot of memories of a lot of great Scott Sherman games, but probably the best broadcast I ever had in a high school football game, probably the best game I ever saw was Sherman and Chapmanville in 2009, and that playoff game. That was a barn burner. But let's talk about tonight's game. With all this COVID-19 pandemic things going on, how has that affected your team?
I mean, obviously, it's been difficult. It's always a challenge for everybody to keep the kids mentally focused, especially when you're going week after week, not really knowing your fate. But, since the very beginning, I think we had our first, Zoom meeting online back in the spring, and we've just talked from day one about let's worry about the things that we can control. And that we have to, be able to adjust and adapt. And we talk a lot about being able to respond to events and not allowing events to dictate our outcome, allow our response to dictate our outcome. And I've been extremely proud of our kids and how they have stayed mentally focused through all this. And that goes back to, like I said, we've preached that since day one. Let's just adjust and adapt and take it day by day, and we got to be ready when our opportunity comes.
Of course, Boone County was in the orange last week, dropped down to the yellow this week. What was the morale of the team? Once they thought they were going to get to play, and then, boom, it came up orange, and they knew they weren't not going to get to play for at least a week.
I thought when we came back that following week, and started that week of practice and not having a game on Friday, I didn't really know what to expect from the kids, but they showed up. We were still mentally focused, still having good practices, and I think they knew all along. They really believed when we were telling them our opportunity's coming. We're going to have that opportunity to get back on the field, and when it comes, we've got to be prepared for that. And I think they really bought into that message and have continued to be focused and continue to practice hard every day.
Let's talk a little bit about your team. By the numbers, you've got an experienced team. In your mind, how experienced are they?
This is a team that, for the most part, has played a lot of football on Friday. And we've got a couple seniors who got significant playing time as sophomores on a very good 9-1 football team that went